What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I am your host tonight, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, dude, I just butchered that living bejeebers out of that intro. We're not gonna redo it. I don't care.
It's fine. It happens every now and then to you. Not
Yes.
much, but it
Yeah.
happens every now and then. So we'll let it slide.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. You can go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. Follow myself on X, Generous Timms, Nate at Nate Green 34. We're not doing any of that commercial stuff this time, Nate. I'm not rolling with it. We had news today from the Angels front, quote unquote news. Major league deal. It is a major league
Yes.
deal.
Yes. So
So
it has to be news.
it has to be news. Major league deal. Angels sign Alec Manoah, former top prospect Alec Manoah, to a 1 year, $2 million contract.
Roughly.
I've been told that it is 2.5 times more than the league minimum. I want your initial thoughts here, Nate, because yeah, give me your initial thoughts.
So yeah, yeah. Uh, Two parts to this. One, if this is a depth move, okay, because he does have two options left, so I'm okay spending $2 million on depth option. But if this is how they are going to finish the rotation, major miss. Typical Angels putting a band-aid over a bullet wound type of nonsense that they love to do. It would be an F move for me if that's what this is. But if they're gonna go out and get one more pitcher and say like, hey, Manoa, you're gonna compete, and if you pitch your butt off, like great, you could potentially win a spot. If not, you're gonna go to AAA, compete down there and be the first guy called up if there's an injury or something like that, great. But um, I'm a little hesitant to say like decent move just because I know the Angels' track record. And this does feel like something where they would just be like, we fixed the rotation. We got a potential ace in Grayson Rodriguez, and we got a potential ace in Alec Manoah, and we're going to move on from there. I will note that the Angels are 0 for their last 5 when Perry talks to his friends in Atlanta. It feels like every time he talks to his friends in Atlanta and takes them up on what they say, it does not go well. We can point to the Tucker Davidson Russell Iglesias trade, not great for them. We could talk about the Jorge Soler trade, hasn't been good for the Angels. We could talk about the Nicky Lopez signing. We could talk about like there's just so many different things that the Angels have kind of taken scraps from Atlanta because I don't know, Perry trusts guys over there or whatever, and it has not worked. So that is another thing that kind of worries me. The velo was way down, over 2 miles an hour down compared to where it was when he was a Cy Young contender 2 years ago. Um, and I guess the last thing that worries me is just like the attitude. I don't love his attitude. I never really have. I think he's got a chance to be a good pitcher. It just comes down to work ethic and attitude, which I don't think he has. And so he doesn't have that CC Sabathia mindset of like, okay, I need to figure out how to get better because I've lost velo or I've lost this or I've lost that. Let me figure out a way to reinvent myself and get better. I just don't see that from him from what I've heard and seen from him so far in his career.
A couple things on that note. I'm not giving you Nicky Lopez as a potential win for the Angels, man. I'm just not going to do that.
He was a one-win player for Atlanta when
No,
the before the Angels signed him, so it's a
no,
miss.
I'm not. I'm
He's a
not gonna.
negative win player for the Angels.
Nicky Lopez had 6 at bats for the Angels. I'm not giving
No,
it to
no,
you.
no.
Or did he
How are
not?
you a negative one-win player with 6 at
Who just
bats?
signed? Who just signed that I'm thinking of? Then maybe it's not Nicky Lopez that I'm thinking of. Um, I'm not giving you Nicky Lopez.
That's fine.
With
I wasn't that wasn't even the big one. Obviously,
no,
there were
yeah,
a couple other
that's
big ones,
fine.
but
That's fine. I don't think that. I mean, like, I don't think the Perry necessarily trusts guys or the staff necessarily trust guys in Atlanta. I think they try to do things like the Braves do, which is fine. The Braves are a good team, or had been a good team if injuries haven't derailed the last 2 years for them. With that being said, if Alec Manoah is a bullpen piece, I'm okay with it at 1 for 2. If he accepts a if he accepts a an option, which I think if the
he
Angels
has to.
why no, because what happened in Atlanta? they optioned him and he didn't accept it and he became a free agent.
No, they non-tendered him.
Is that what they did?
And
I
then
thought he got optioned. It's
Toronto needed a 40-man spot, and they just said, you know what, you're the worst guy on our 40-man. We're gonna DFA you.
okay. Regardless, I would still assume he has to accept going to AAA, right? He's not just going to go to AAA. So there's a couple things with me in this. I would like it a lot more if it was a minor league deal. Um, Looking at Fangraphs over Baseball Reference, I feel a little bit better. He hasn't pitched in the major league since 2024. He wasn't good in 2024. He wasn't good in 2023. You mentioned the attitude. I do slightly agree with that, though. I think a change in a change in scenery sometimes does the job on that note. And I also agree with if this is a starting rotation spot, it's not good. If he earns it, a little bit different because I mean, you know that he's a Cy Young candidate at the end of the day. But if he doesn't earn it, and this is the way the Angels are planning on rounding out the rotation, it's definitely a little bit of an issue. The Angels do have better options than Alec Manoah, which is a good thing, especially on the 40 man. Like you can put Caden Dana in the mix, you can put Ryan Johnson in the mix. Like if you want to put Tyler Brimner, that's fine. Like if you want to say that's an option, that's fine and probably a better option than what Alec Manoah is right now. Um, Another thing, I believe he's coming off Tom TJ, if I'm not mistaken, or something along the lines of
He
that.
had it in 2024, yeah, and I think
2024. So that's 2 years removed, which we enjoy. We like the 2 year removed guys. We know that a year after Tommy TJ, just it's not the same. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like um, coming into spring training because the Angels do in a sense did in a sense get a potential Cy Young candidate in Alec Manoah for $2 million. However, it will be seen if they use him the correct way. I was vocal about this on social media. I would much rather prefer to see these types of deals on a minor league deal for sure. I don't think that anybody else was going to give him a major league deal. I could totally be wrong. Maybe somebody does what the Angels were doing, and gives him
Colorado.
league minimum or something like that. Yeah, yeah. But at that point, would you rather go to Colorado or Anaheim to pitch?
Yeah, but that was
Yeah,
my point. Was like
yeah,
nobody was the only team that was going to give him a major league
exactly.
deal was like Colorado.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the tough part is I would prefer to see this type of signing on a minor league deal. Just like Kyle Hendricks last year. I would prefer to see Kyle Hendricks on a minor league deal. And if he earns a spot in spring, then that's perfectly fine. And I feel like you can find better players on minor league deals for this. And if he said no to it, so be it.
Yeah,
Um, but again, I said it before, at the end of the day, if he's a bullpen piece, I'm okay. I'm fine with this. If he earns the spot in spring, I'm fine with it. But if this is how you're rounding out your rotation and you're not going to go get any more options, and we'll find this out in the coming days and weeks, then it's going to be an issue. Right now, I'm not totally panicked. I'm not in love with the move by any means. I'm not losing any sleep over this move. Like I like the name. I like Alec Manoah, again, former Cy Young candidate. Just like Grayson Rodriguez. It's kind of the same thing for me with Grayson Rodriguez. Like the Angels have it's very similar. Grayson Rodriguez didn't pitch last year. You're expecting him to have probably another injury in the coming years. I mean, a lot of guys after they have the bone spurs removed do have Tommy John. So it's a very similar thing. Though Grayson was better more recently than Alec Manoah was, and also
and
Grayson
Grayson
didn't
still
have a
throws
complete cooler.
97 plus.
Uh, yeah, I mean, even in 2024 when Manoah, the velo didn't drop in 2024. I don't know if it dropped in
He was
2025 or not.
91 last year.
Last year he was 91 in the minor leagues because he only pitched in the
Mhm.
minors last year. So
That was his.
yeah,
That was his. Like he was 91. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens in spring. I think the velo will say a lot on if he's worked because you did say the attitude there too. If he's worked to come back from Tommy John and he's back into that 93, 94 spot, or is he going to be 90 to 92 in spring training? And also, it'll be interesting to see if he accepts, a minor league option or not. Like he doesn't have to accept it. He can just become a free agent. So yeah, a lot of interesting things. I don't want to make this entire podcast about a $2 million signing, Alec Manoah. Not in love with it, not hating it by any means, not losing any sleep over it. So we'll see how the rest of this offseason goes, and if they can get another pitcher or two, then they might have something there. If not, we might be talking about this type of move for the next year or so, and being like, why did they sign Alec Manoah and that's it? So, you got any final thoughts before we move on to the news that everybody else wants to talk about?
I don't think that he has enough service time to refuse and keep the money. So, like, I know that you're saying, like, ah, big deal, $2 million or 1.95, whatever. Like, that's a lot of money compared to what he gets as a minor league free agent. Like, as a minor league free agent, they give him a minor league deal and he makes less than league minimum for the rest of the year. And probably nobody picks him up if he doesn't make this Angel roster. Like, looking at it,
Somebody will pick him up for the reasons
but
that I said,
being realistic, right? Like, who is going to pick him up and give him more money than the Angels or the same money as the Angels?
Nobody. But if he gets
And
released, he signs either a minor league contract and goes play
exactly.
somewhere
So
else, or
he loses $2 million is what I'm saying.
yeah. Again, he doesn't have to accept it. That's the biggest thing there is you are right, 100%, but also he doesn't have to accept it. Side note, his brother played
Was
in the
with the
Angels
org. Yeah.
organization as well. So that was when I first started covering the minor leagues. So kind of cool to see that come back full circle there and him being an Angel. So final thoughts, man, before we jump on to what everybody else wants to talk about.
No, let's move on.
Okay. We did not get to talk about this. We've been away from Talking Halos for a week. That's it. And everybody wants us to get a podcast out there, and we've been working on it. But Anthony Rendon, I guess the Angels are working on a little buyout there. I'm gonna have the political answer on this one here. I'm not gonna, give anybody too much on this, but I'll let you go ahead and start. What are your thoughts on this?
According to the way that it looks, the number is not going to change next year. Like it's going to be $36 million, $38 million on the luxury tax. So for me, all we're doing is we're letting Artie Moreno give Rendon a little less money this year and give him a little bit more money, like a little less, like keep giving him money for a couple years rather than just cutting bait and moving on. Personally, I would just release him. Like it's been a major headache. Like release him, pay him his money, let him retire. It doesn't really matter. Um, Now, if you could change the luxury tax, I still wouldn't do it because this team personally is not in a place to go win right now. They're not a Bo Bichette away. They're not a Kyle Tucker away. They're not a Michael King away. You can argue with me all you want on that. They're just not. Um, they have way too many holes to fill. And even if you go get one of those guys to fill the $38 million hole that Anthony Rendon is, you would be basically getting back. There's still way too many holes to fill other places. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like just cut him a check, move on, let him let him retire and get rid of this stupid contract at the end of the year. I know the free agency next year isn't as good as this year, people would say, but again, like we're not right there at winning. Like you're going to need to see a lot of things happen for this team to be in a spot where like, oh, let's go spend money. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I would just cut him. I would just call it, hey, you're gone. Cut him a check and move on.
Um, like I said, I'm gonna give the political answer here. There are so many different ways that this could shake out that I don't think anybody really knows how it's gonna shake out. And whether or not that money stays the same or whether it changes, and everybody's speculated and thought they know what's going on in that front. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, I think a deal does get done here. I know we haven't heard about it here in about a week, but I would assume some type of deal gets done, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there. We haven't seen this happen all that often. The couple that I can think of is Prince Fielder um, and Chris Davis, who had their contracts restructured really weirdly. Prince Fielder, not as much as Chris Davis. I know Chris Davis is getting paid till like 2037. So yeah, we'll kind of see where it goes with that. Um, my One thing would be, I believe, and I could totally 1000% be wrong on this, just like everybody else, but I believe if the Angels were to straight not release him, but no, if the Angels were to, in a sense, buy him out and he were to retire before December 31st, the money hypothetically could go on to 2025's con payroll. I don't know if that's how that works exactly or not, but I think that's one way that they could do it, of many ways that they could do it. We could get the Chris Davis thing. We could get the Prince Fielder way. We could get, regardless though, I think, Boris is going to end up wanting the most for his guy, and I think at the end of the day, I'd prefer to not see this money continue to drag on for years and us be talking about Anthony Rendon in 2035. Um, when we're 40 plus years old. But at the end of the day, if that's the way that they end up doing it, then that's the way they end up doing it. Another thing too is you have to remember, if Artie Moreno sells the team, there could be some, speculation that Artie would still have to pay for this contract down the road or something like that. So yeah, it's there's a lot of different ways this could go, and we'll kind of wait and see what the official word is on this in the coming days and weeks. I would have to assume it happens here pretty soon, especially with the way this market's shaping out, and especially if the Angels think they can save some money. So, um, yeah. You got anything else? I don't know. I mean,
It looks like Chris Davis retired before he had 2 years left on his deal. That's why they were able to make the the luxury tax move. Prince Fielder just got straight up released, so his didn't actually get like changed too much. The one thing that nobody, not nobody, but I don't think a lot of people are remembering is all these deals have been done pre CBA. We have a different CBA than we did with Chris Davis. So is there a loophole in there that could get you out of it, or is there a loophole? I mean, like, who knows? Or was there a loophole back in the day that they kind of fixed up with this new one of like, hey, we saw the Chris Davis thing. We're not going to allow that to happen. So this is the new rule. So I think those things need to be addressed as well of like, hey, what does the CBA technically say about all these things? Because it's some people understand how to negotiate and how to work that CBA, and other teams seem to not do it as well. So those are some things that we'll have to figure out.
yeah, yeah, and like I said, it's going to come in the coming days and weeks. I'm sure. I, I have to imagine it's done hopefully before. I mean, even the sorry, take a step back. Even Strasburg had a deal done. Those are all Boris guys, by the way. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Strasburg did not get his deal done.
had a deal done.
He had a deal, and then Washington backed out last minute.
So I mean, that was under this CBA too. So
I
that'd
know,
probably be the
but like,
first thing.
what would it have done to their luxury tax is what I mean. Like,
I'm
because
sure some's out there on it.
okay,
Could be wrong.
we'll look as we
Look at
if I can even
you.
find what the deal was.
Proud of you. Proud of you. There might not be anything out on the Steven Strasburg thing. But yeah, at the end of the day, with Anthony Rendon, tough situation for sure. I know a lot of people are going to dislike him. Even Kevin Pillar said one of the more misunderstood guys in all of baseball. And the fan side of us, I get it. I do. I totally do get it. But also the baseball player side of us gets it as well from the Anthony Rendon side of things too. Not to make any excuses or anything like that for Anthony Rendon, but did you find it?
Um, Still looking.
Yeah, we can talk about it next time, man, because it'll come back up again with 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 Anthony Rendon, hopefully retiring here in the coming days or and weeks. So, you got any final thoughts before we let everybody go? Jose Suarez signed a
No,
deal with the Braves.
no. The one thing about the Rendon thing though is the Angels. I think they messed up by just letting him sit at home and do nothing last year. Um, if if they really wanted to be like tough about it, they should have said, "Hey, you're getting paid to go to work. Come to work." Um, Sucks. Like, I know you want to spend time with your family, but if you want to spend time with your family, then, call it quits. But you are getting paid to go to work, and we like he could have shown up to work. Like especially when they were in Texas and he was staying in Texas, he didn't show up to work at all because, they thought it was a bigger distraction for him there than it was him not being there. And
It
it's
would
like,
have been a bigger distraction. I would prefer him not to have been
no.
like it was it no why would you out want him to show up to work and then everybody
So
constantly asking the media constantly going after him, man? Like that's a bigger distraction than him being there.
so any other player is hurt, they have to show up to work, but because he's Anthony Rendon and he's been a distraction in the media already, we're going to reward the bad behavior that he's already had and allow him to stay at home. Because
Ben Joyce showed up one weekend, man. But yes, I would
like
prefer to not
they're
hear about
but
it,
they're
man.
still showing up. They're still showing up.
I'm not. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get what you're saying. I do. I just don't think that. I don't think it's worth the headache to be like, hey, Anthony, you should show up to Angel Stadium today and
Well,
let the media grill you.
there's
Like,
you don't even have to let him do. You could just make him not available to the media. Like that's not illegal to just be like, hey, he's not on the active roster. He's not available to the media. But if you want to create the headaches, and I think it's more headaches.
you're creating a headache any way you go there, man.
I know, but at
Like,
least this way you as the team are put in the driver's seat because you're telling him what he wants to do rather than him telling you like, hey, you know what? I'm going to collect my $38 million. I'm going to sit on my couch all year, not even going to think about baseball. I'm just going to hang out with my kids and my family and, collect a check and do nothing. Because the other thing too about showing up to work, he has to go through rehab and he has to like bust his butt to try and be back on the field. If he's sitting at home, we don't even know if he did anything.
I get it. I totally get it,
You
man.
you
I
just gave
really
him
do.
all the power to just be like, hey, you don't have to show up to work. Just sit at home and do nothing.
It's almost worth not dealing with the headache.
If
I'm
if
just
it was
saying.
the last year of his contract, I totally agree. But because he had 2 years on the contract and you're still, I know you're not hoping he gets back because you weren't even expecting him to be back and ready to play at all. But I mean, it's just it's a bad situation knowing that you're paying a guy who isn't trying to do anything to get back on the field, and you're paying him a lot of money.
I, I I totally get it. But for me, with the way the Angels have worked in recent years, it's almost worth it to not deal with the headache, not deal with the media that comes along with it.
It's
Because
fair.
I mean, unless you want to make it a punishment and just have him get grilled by the media, but then that looks really bad on you.
But you don't have to
So
have him available to the media. He's not on
yeah,
the active roster.
yeah, but then it's gonna go back. It's gonna go back and forth. Like if you
There
don't
were
have him available to the media, the media gets upset because Rendon's there, and you're not letting him talk to a player.
there's already
If you have him available to the media and you let him interviewed, then you have to go through the exact same stuff that this exact same crap that he pulled last year, which I personally didn't mind that much because we all know the situation that was going on. It was like, guys, just leave him alone. Like I get it. So I just think that it's a lose-lose situation no matter what you do because you're gonna let Anthony Rendon talk to the media and do his thing and make the organization look bad, or you're gonna go ahead and say Anthony Rendon's here, he's not available to the media, and you're gonna get grilled all over the place because you didn't make him available to the media. And they've done this before, right? Like they don't make coaches available to the media. They don't make certain players available to the media. So it's just a lose-lose and not having him around and not having to deal with it and not talking about it was probably better than having him around and constantly having to get Anthony Rendon updates. I could be wrong, but I mean,
you could have easily just said, "Hey, guess what, media members? If they are not on the active roster, they are not going to be interviewed." And like that's it. Whether you like it or not, like just have a straight rule across the board, and that way you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, we want to talk to Rendon. What do you want to talk to Rendon about? He's hurt. He's out for the year. We've already told you that. There's nothing to talk to him about.
it's fine.
Like,
That's fine.
and if he's such a professional, like some people are trying to say that he is, maybe he could help some of the younger guys. We had a very young team last year. Maybe he was able to help some of the younger guys and be like, hey, this is some things that might work, rather than not being there at all. So I don't know. I just think you gave him way too much power in my mind.
That's fine. That's fine. So, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening here, Talking Halos. Go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Tim's Nate at Nate Green 34. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your day.